We'll have special guests from the cast and crew of The Wheel of Time. Plus, we'll be sharing behind-the-scenes footage and breaking down the season finale with our fellow Wheel of Time fans. Welcome to the season finale of Amazon's official aftershow, Inside the Wheel of Time. I'm your host and innkeeper, Matt Hatch. This was not the end, but it is an end to Season 1. Let's get inside Episode 8. Tarwin's Gap falls to hordes of Trollocs. Nynaeve and Egwene give their lives to protect Faldara. And the Dark Friend, Padden Fane, steals the Horn of Valyr, while Perrin struggles to choose his path. Rand survives the Dark One, yet fears the coming madness. And Lan finds Moiraine alone and unable to channel. What have Rand and Moiraine unleashed? And who approaches the far western shore? Thank you very much, Madeleine, for being here. It's awesome to see you. It's great for me to start my day chatting with you.
Oh, there we go.
So tell me, how exciting was it to be cast as Egwene Alvear in The Wheel of Time?
I remember when I got the audition through, and I just remember thinking, whether I'm a part of this or I'm not, I know it's just going to be massive, and it's just going to change whoever the very lucky actor's life gets this job. It's going to change their life. Honestly, it's a dream job. I just am so grateful to be here and to work with the best people in the industry and bring this series to life on screen. So it's a dream come true.
That idea, I think, builds into how this show begins. You have Nynaeve during your initiation into the women's circle. She says, "You're a part of us, we're a part of you." How has that description of the women's circle initiation affected how you carried yourself as Egwene, even after you left the Two Rivers?
Yeah, I think it's a very moving line and a commentary on what it is to be a woman and to be initiated into the women's circle. You know, there's this undeniable sisterhood there and a respect for each other. And I think that's what our heroes fight for, is to work their way back to each other. This is something that I was talking about with Marcus, particularly the relationship between Egwene and Perrin, which I love so much. When they're on the road, even though Perrin is physically stronger and bigger than Egwene, a lot of the time it is her that gives him the strength and protects him. Our heroes really lend their strength to one another, and it's never at the demise of the other person, ever. The symbolism of the braid is, we will always be here for you, and we are connected, and you hold this braid and you think of us. And I think that's just so touching and beautiful, and I think a lot of people are going to connect with.
This is one of the most startling scenes right at the beginning, is during the dance at Beltane. It's extremely visceral. What were those scenes like to shoot?
I mean, it was intense. Like, I really didn't have to do much acting, to be honest with you. I just had to look around me and was horrified. You know, it felt so real. Like, I was so immersed in this world. And that's a huge testament to our set designers, our stunt people, our supporting artists. Everyone was giving 110% that night. The moment everything goes south is just horrifying. It's genuinely terrifying. I think even us watching it, we were like scared as well, like jumping in our seats, and we were there. But yeah, honestly, I didn't have to do much acting. It was Trollocs, people dying, literally tripping over people and falling down and getting trampled. So it was real. It was very, very real. Yeah.
Now digging into Egwene a little bit, she trusts Moiraine up front much more easily than the others do. What is it you think that Egwene sees in Moiraine, or does she trust too easily?
It's always something I'm very fascinated with Egwene's curiosity. You know, she's so eager to learn, and I think she's so fascinated with the world outside the Two Rivers. Usually in these kinds of situations, it's a mysterious man that rolls into town and changes everything. But I think the fact that it's a woman and an Aes Sedai, that is very seductive to Egwene. Egwene has always, you know, been fascinated with her. And, Moiraine takes her under her wing. She has a very political, active thinking mind. And I think Moiraine invented that, you know. So so she's learning from the best. Now,
there's so much more that happens, obviously, to Egwene throughout this season. How did you approach the difficult decisions that Egwene makes around, like, destiny, duty, and love? And, what do you hope that viewers will think about Egwene's decisions?
I think she has an incredible sense of duty and believes in destiny and feels that she is destined for something greater than what her life would be in the Two Rivers. And that comes at a massive cost, you know, and a lot of sacrifice. I hope that fans will have a bit more insight into her decisions and why she does the things that she does. But, you know, she wants to change the world. And I think sometimes that comes at a cost and it's not always pretty. But she's willing to make those sacrifices to you know, leave the world in a better place than she found it.
I think Robert Jordan does such a great job of that, making us at times misunderstood.
Yeah.
Almost on purpose,
yeah.
You know, because he leaves the viewers on the outside of those decisions. So
absolutely. You know, and I think that's the thing with the Wheel of Time. It's not just good versus evil or light versus dark. It's about balance and duality. And, you know, I think there's, like I said, it's not black and white. There's a lot of gray. You know, I think there are good people at the heart of this story, and they have to make sometimes really tough decisions. That is a hard pill to swallow, but that's what life is, and that's what being a human is. And you make mistakes and you learn from them, and sometimes they have major consequences. But that's what is so brilliant about the world and the people that Robert Jordan has created. They're so real. They're so real.
Now, Egwene has stood in the White Tower and has spoken with the Amerlin. Is there anything at all that would ever prevent Egwene Elvir from becoming Aes Sedai?
I think the only thing that could get in the way of Egwene Elvir is herself. I think she is a force to be reckoned with. God forbid you get in the way of her and what she wants. I really think that the only thing that could stop her from ever doing what she wants or becoming who she wants is herself. And I think that's the case for a lot of us in life.
Look at this. What do you think? Ciao. We had a month of prep, so the cast of the Two Rivers, we had, you know, time to bond, which was nice, because in the story, they know each other really well. We did all the stunts together, the horse riding, the dialect coaching. We did all of that together, and I think that was really good, that month of just being here.
Everyone's got their own story, so there's going to be a lot of action.
I mean, as you can see, the scale of the sets and everything on it was just, the magnitude of it was crazy.
We have this kind of stuff every day, so it really feels like a big production, big sets, big cast. I mean, it's a Wheel of Times, it's a huge story. It raises the bar.
There is so much to break down in the season finale of The Wheel of Time, so thankfully, I have my wonderful three guests here with me. Rhythma, Critter, and Daniel Green, thank you so much for being here. We are at the end of the first season, and I'm curious, what was the biggest moment of the season finale for you?
Oh man, there's a lot of moments in this episode, but I have to say the exchange between Lan and Nynaeve was probably my favorite, and Lan ended up saying one of my favorite quotes: "I will hate the man you choose because he is not me, and love him if he makes you smile." Lan is such an interesting character because he's so layered, even though maybe his stony exterior doesn't always show through. He's a very romantic character, I think, and I love that exchange between them.
You're this uncrowned king, you're this renowned warrior, you're warder to this influential Aes Sedai in Moraine. What is it about wisdom, Nynaeve Almira, that touches Lan's heart?
I think Lan is bonded to Moraine for a reason, and Moraine is very strong, bullheaded, self-directed, task-oriented, obviously, and I think Nynaeve shares a lot of those characteristics. He finds that side of her very attractive, that fearlessness, and how forthright she is, how smart she is. There's also the element of her being so in touch with nature, the earth. I think he can share those things. He's constantly out by himself, scouting and tracking and foraging. I think to some extent they also both have sort of a lonely existence, because it can be lonely to be a wisdom. You have to make some strong choices and you're not always liked. And I think Lan lives to some extent a lonely life as well at times.
Obviously, initially, Nynaeve does not trust Lan. What is it that Nynaeve sees in Lan that makes her change her mind a little bit?
I think they have a similar motivation. I mean, his drive is to protect Moraine no matter the cost, in the same way Nynaeve will do just about anything for Egwene and Rand and Mat and Perrin. I don't think she enjoys falling in love with this person at all. But there's a lot of inner turmoil and questioning and doubt and self-doubt too. It's a scary jump for both of them. Both Lan and Nynaeve had made firm decisions of how they're going to live their life and what their duty is and what's important to them. And then someone just comes along out of the blue and makes them question everything.
Was this a shock to you when Rand was just like, I'm out?
I wasn't necessarily a shock to see them all splitting up again. A lot of Wheel of Time fans probably won't be too surprised by that. It's a bit of a tradition of the story. But I was very surprised by the reveal of him saying, "Tell them I died," which makes me very curious of what's going to go on next. It does make sense, I believe, for the Rand we've seen so far in this turning of the wheel. It definitely means this show is going in a direction that I have no predictions for.
Critter, Moraine can't channel? How did you feel about that?
I'm worried for Moraine. She's already gone through a bit, and it seems like she's going to go through a lot more. I hope she can still channel. Weird, though, that her bond with Lan is kind of gone, or just masked or whatever. So I think that could create some interesting dynamics between her and Lan and Nynaeve now, because Nynaeve was always worried about Moraine having some kind of claim on him. So I hope she's okay going forward. I really hope so.
It left everyone in this kind of what's going to happen next place, which I guess is a great way to end a season, if you will. Daniel, was there a standout moment for you? Favorite moments or surprises?
I was shocked to see Padon Fane's reappearance play out the way it did. I knew it was coming because of the flashes we had with Perrin, but there was so much happening in the episode that I was just completely forgot about it until all of a sudden I was like, oh yeah, Dark Friends also exist, and I definitely should have seen it coming. And with the performance behind Padon Fane being what it is, I'm really excited to see his character continue to be at the forefront, because Slimy is interesting. I don't know how else to put that.
And then Slimy with the horn, it seems even more interesting.
Oh, now I don't want to blow the horn. That's gross.
I want to, though, step back, because this episode begins with a cold open that I was not expecting. We go back 3,000 years. We meet Luz Theron Telamon and the Tamerlan seat. What were your thoughts about the cold open of the season finale?
So I think everyone was wondering if we were going to get the prequel to the Eye of the World, which is a flashback on Luz Theron Telamon when some crazy stuff goes down. This wasn't that. It was a different flashback, which was really fascinating. It got into the politicking of the fight against the Dark One way back in the day, and it painted him in sort of a different light. I was really glad to see Luz Theron. A fun surprise that I was hoping for but didn't expect.
I loved it. The prologue to The Eye of the World is one of my favorite pieces of writing ever. It was nice to have the Amerlin seat in the last episode, and then we see that even 3,000 years ago there was this Tamerlan seat, and you kind of get this idea of how ancient the Aes Sedai order is. And yeah, I just love how much was kind of packed into that scene. I love that. I thought that was super, super interesting.
There was an interesting connection between his child, and then we have this moment where Rand has gone into some place where he kind of sees this future, it seems like, with Egwene and their own child. What did you think, Daniel, about this battle between the Dark One and Rand?
I'm really curious to see how the discussion between people who can just fully get into spoilers and speculation is going to be, opposed to the people who are fresh on this. It's going to be very interesting, because I think that scene can be interpreted two entirely different ways, depending if you have knowledge from the book or not.
Moraine brings Rand to the Eye. I couldn't tell if it was they were giving her that little bit of hubris. Look, here's a sangreal, this object of power that you'll be able to kind of channel much more power than you ever could alone. And you're just going to defeat the Dark One and it's going to be over. What did you think about that moment where she was sitting there maybe I was wrong?
This felt to me like a desperate attempt to rip off a Band-Aid. Okay, I've got my dragon. I know where I need to go. The Dark One may be weak right now, so we're gonna do this, It was just her finally, after 20 years of searching, wanting to be done, and I'm not sure she got what she wanted. I think she probably expected death, and I'm not sure that what happened to her is better than that, depending on what way it goes in the next season.
We see Egwene and Nynaeve give their lives, basically, for the defense of Faldara. What did you think about how that all went down?
I think that scene is super interesting because we get to see people channeling who aren't Aes Sedai. And I think if you compare that scene to the battle between the Aes Sedai at the camp versus the Gyaldans, you can kind of see how the Aes Sedai are much more controlled. It kind of demonstrated how, even though these women might be powerful, if they don't have the training and the direction of the White Tower, that can go south really, really fast. And we we see the very harrowing image of Amalisa getting burned out. And yeah, I just think that final battle between the women versus an entire Trolloc army, it was kind of interesting to see how powerful these women are, but also how that power can turn on you and, kind of bite the hand.
What did you think, though, Daniel, about Perrin in this episode? Like, give me an idea of, like, where is Perrin at?
To me, Perrin's probably the most lost character up until this point, which is saying something, and obviously I don't mean that literally, but he seems to be struggling with a fight that's very prevalent for his character throughout the entire series of where he belongs, and seeing that kind of come through already while he's dealing with so much, it just gives him this feeling of desperation and out of waterness, fish out of... You know what I mean? Maybe there's a barrel in that metaphor. Yeah. But it like that kind of added tension for him.
We found this amazing facility in Prague that we were able to build from the ground up into multiple sound stages all under one roof.
I'm sitting in the walls of Tarvalon. We've had Shadow Lagos created in monstrous detail.
I didn't want our actors standing on a green mat talking to a green blob and we're like, you're in Tarvalon. We've done everything we can to build this world in reality.
Now, going back to the Two Rivers, Moiraine says to the four of you, like, your life isn't going to be what you thought. In what ways has taking on the role of Egwene changed what you thought your life was going to be?
I never thought I'd be living in the Czech Republic. I didn't think I'd be on an incredible show like this, playing one of the best, most fleshed out, wonderful characters ever written with people that I absolutely love. It's changed my life. I've really depended on my family here to help me through those moments.
For you, what do you think the biggest concern or question in Egwene's mind is at the end of season 1?
I think the biggest question at the end of Egwene's mind at the end of season 1 is, did we do it? Did we save everyone? Have we done it? Where are her friends? Where's Rand? Where's Perrin? Are they okay? Like I said, they work to get back to each other. I think the faces of her friends and family would probably be the last thing she sees. And I think that gives her that extra strength to push through.
It's funny because from the context of being a reader of the books, you're in the journey with the character and you're like, this is around the first book of 14, so you got a ways to go.
Right. That's it. I think 100% I was saying earlier, like this show, as we said, it's a marathon. You need a lot of stamina to take on the wheel of time. It's a good time and a long time.
Are there any funny stories from the set that you've would like to share with fans?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Zoe and I, when we're standing on the bridge and we're listening to the wind, it's this really beautiful moment, and it's quiet and we're speaking softly and listening and concentrating. In reality, we had probably about 8 guys, 4 on each end, with just these gigantic industrial fans, so loud, just pointed at us, just absolutely blasting them at me and Zoe, and we couldn't hear a thing, and there was bugs flying in our face, leaves, hair in the eye, and we couldn't hear a thing. We were just guessing each other's lines. So when people watch that, we couldn't hear a thing. We were just guessing that was our lines. I mean, it was pretty hilarious because you could see, and it's do you hear that? I hear it. It's the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. So yeah, so I think that was a funny moment that I can kind of think about.
That is going to change that scene for me forever.
If I've ruined it now. Maybe I should have said that, but yeah.
You've been asked, I'm sure, variations of this question before about reading The Wheel of Time. Have you actually picked up some of the books and read into the series?
Yeah, I think everyone's process is different. I know Zoe and I share the same process. When we first got the job, we went and bought the books and started reading, and which was amazing just to have an understanding of the world and the characters. But I think as we started filming, it was really important for us to kind of remain in the present when we were shooting. I kind of get easily distracted, and as we all know, that the characters go on such an incredible journey, and if we were chapters ahead than where we were in the series, then I think that was quite distracting and just for me a bit detrimental to the work I was trying to do. So I found it was best to kind of read as we were going along in the show with the books. And I mean, you know, we have so many wonderful people. We have Sarah, our book expert, and Rafe, who are both like fans of the book. So even if we wouldn't be up to a part in the series where we are in the books, or vice versa, we have them who have loved, you know, these characters in this story and have lived with it for years. So we can always depend on them as well to give us advice and, you know, flesh out characters a bit more. But I mean, it's just an invaluable resource to have Robert Jordan's work, you know, at our fingertips.
Yeah, there's so much there. But I love, you're surrounded by, like you said, brilliant people that know the books really, really well. So by the way, thank you so much, Madeleine. Appreciate this. It's been so much fun to get together and talk again so soon. I love it.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We always love chatting with you. So thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Your fear as an actor is that you're going to have to conjure the whole thing in front of a blue screen.
The Ways is like the most talked about set ever. The big challenge was how to build it in such a way that it wasn't a 12-minute CG scene. We talked about The Ways for a year and a half.
It was the most incredible world to work in.
There's so much more behind-the-scenes content where that came from, so make sure to check it out on X-Ray as you watch The Wheel of Time on Prime Video. To access it, press up on your Fire TV remote or tap your mobile device while watching The Wheel of Time. What are the questions you are left with at the end of the season finale here?
I guess the main one that we haven't really talked about yet is Madeleine in his little monologue said, some of you, if not all of you, are going to turn to the dark, and it flashed to Matt in Tar Valon. So I'm a little nervous about what's going to happen with Matt, especially. And also, in my mind, I thought, it's a dark friend. Don't listen to him. They lie all the time. He's just trying to get in Perrin's head. But then the other part of me was like, but what if he is a dark friend? What if he's gonna turn? So that is probably my biggest worry at this point. I'm sure Rand's gonna have a hard time and Moiraine might be stilled, but is Matt gonna be a dark friend? That is my biggest worry.
I was going to say, it doesn't feel like foreshadowing, it feels like forelighting. It feels more like, here's the spotlight on where we're gonna go.
It is.
I really liked how characters actually kind of talked about things in this show. A lot of people will kind of find that refreshing because I think a lot of times in the books, miscommunication is a very common trope used. I also loved the scenes of like Rand and Egwene coming together and like actually talking through their feelings. But then at the end, Rand kind of goes off on his own, which feels like the ultimate miscommunication and like kind of lying to everyone. So I guess it felt pretty on brand for Wheel of Time for Rand to kind of go off on his own. And I think my biggest questions are just like, what is his plan? Like, what is he planning to do off on his own? And what is going on with those mysterious ship people?
Critter, too much communication in the Wheel of Time this first season for you?
A couple of the characters in this particular episode really shined for me, and it wasn't necessarily their communication. It was just how they were so spectacularly themselves. Nynaeve, for example, in the last battle, she takes on Egwene's burden to try and save her. That was so Nynaeve. That was perfectly her, and she's such a hero. And another situation that I absolutely loved was Rand during his big mind game versus the Dark One. He ends up just realizing, you know, like, this isn't the right thing because it's not Egwene. Like, this wouldn't be the real Egwene. And it just really solidified for me that he is a complete dreamboat. You know, the line where he's like, what about what she wants? That just really got to me. I was like, you know what? Yeah. What does she want, Rand? Good for you. Both of those scenes to me were like, yeah, you guys are being you perfectly, and I really love that.
I think the one that Critter mentioned was probably my favorite one. There's also another layer to that quote. It kind of goes back to what Rand was hearing from the sort of black wind in The Ways, where he believes that Egwene doesn't love him as much as he loves her. It's kind of tragic because he is thinking about what would Egwene want, but there's this idea that Rand finds it impossible to believe that Egwene could want to choose a life with him instead of going to the White Tower. There's so many layers to that interaction between Rand and Egwene, and that scene was probably my favorite.
Daniel, was there something in the season finale where you thought that they just got a character really well, or maybe a quote that made you feel that?
It's actually what they're doing with Randall, harken back to that and having him kind of say, like, yeah, tell everyone that I died here. Because one of the themes of the books that I really enjoy is how Rand, specifically as a character, tries to just get things done. Just, okay, let's get it over with is kind of an arc he goes through. And this kind of feels a lot like that. And I like to see one of the themes of, if you're going up against a challenge that's so great, you can't just try and oversimplify and take the easy way out. And so it puts a feeling in my back, a little tickle, that things are going to get darker for him due to decisions like these.
Okay, we got to the very end. I really appreciate all your comments, but I want to look back really quickly. We've just watched the entire season, the entire first season of The Wheel of Time. Critter, favorite moment of the last 8 episodes?
Oh my gosh. I'd say the ones that made me yell out loud, there were a few, but one of them was, as a book reader, seeing Swarrain confirmed. When you found out that Moiraine and Swan were together, I was so happy because I wanted that to be real so badly, and then it was. Also, just generally, can I just say that the first episode was so exciting, the whole thing. There were so many hype moments in this season that it's really hard to choose.
I got to watch a woman birthing a child murder like 30 dudes. That's gotta be where it's at. I've never seen anything like it. I don't think I ever will see anything like it again. There was really cool choreography throughout, and it got me so excited to see this world continue to grow.
I think my favorite moment is still the trial in the hall with the sitters and the Amerlin seat. When I was 12 years old reading Wheel of Time for the first time, like, the White Tower was everything that I just, like, I wanted to be a novice at the White Tower, and I wanted to be an Aes Sedai, and I feel like I was watching that scene and I was, like, pretending that I was Swan. Like, that was, like, my moment. Everything I love about Wheel of Time has to do with, like, the Aes Sedai and their, like, drama and how flawed they are as an organization, and I feel like that scene just demonstrated that so well and just put on a show, you know? Like, I feel like that's when I really fell in love with Wheel of Time, was like all just the Aes Sedai and their trickery and their schemes and their plans within plans. And so for me, the hall scene was just delicious. I loved it.
For me, it has to be that Trolloc pulling Zoe Robbins as Nynaeve across the ground and just seeing her head bop against the ground, and then, like, having the Trolloc go over and, like, kill and start eating, I don't know, whatever he's doing to his fellow Trolloc, having her run away, and then in the very end in that pool, kill that Trolloc. Again, just an iconic moment for me that will always stay as I look back over the season. So can't wait to see what they're going to do in season 2, and I can't wait to see what fans are going to speculate, honestly, for the next year, as the cast and crew do another Herculean job to bring us the next season. So thank you to the three of you, Daniel, Rhythma, and Critter. Absolutely appreciate you being here all season long, breaking down each of these episodes and helping bring a smile to my face. This has been so much fun.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun. I literally love talking about these books and now the show.
Hashtag Logan did nothing wrong. Thanks for letting me be here. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure to talk with you all. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was so much fun.
Absolutely.
Bye. Thank you.
You've been through this first season. Can you describe where your character is at in 3 words, or, you know, whatever, at the end of the season?
At the end of this first season?
Yeah.
I think...
Oh.
I say he's...
How much can I say, Matt? Okay.
Love.
Confused.
Guilty.
Loss.
Angry.
Okay.
It's such a cop-out. Angry.
Conflicted.
Some real sort of existential questions of self as well, and self-worth, and the idea of potential failure.
And curious.
Learning.
And I think he's in a real sort of mental pickle.
I think that they're constantly learning more about themselves and the world outside.
It's epic. I'm very excited for people to see it.
It's one of those things at the start where everyone kind of like pretends they're not like that character, but then we just realize we're all just like our characters.
There's a lot of similarities between me and Egwene. We've shared a lot of the same experiences of embarking on this new adventure with people that you've never met before, but making really amazing friends along the way.
Looking back, when we met for the first time and now, we've become a close group. I really love them all.
Thank you for sharing your reactions to all 8 episodes of The Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime Video. Now here's what you had to say about Season 1. T-Reese381 tweeted, I love the world of The Wheel of Time. The awe I feel as the world and the characters I've imagined come to life on screen is staggering. It's such an overwhelming and emotional experience for me, and I'm so thankful I get to enjoy it again anew. T-Reese, it really is as though the legends faded to myth, and even that myth was long forgotten, and the age that gave it birth has come again. The Tom Turkey tweeted, I had to remind my non-reader wife that there are 14 books and we are just getting started. She is hungry for more. So much of my enjoyment comes from the fact that Amazon was able to capture the readers and non-readers and allow us to share the story together. Invaluable. Tom, sharing this experience with non-reader friends and family has been one of the most enjoyable parts of this journey for me too. I can't wait for the next season. Axe Chucker tweeted, the fact that we got to see Winter Night in all its gory glory still sets my toes on fire. And that was 7 episodes ago. Axe Chucker, what a season it has been, from that Trolloc attack to the Eye of the World. Now it's time for a rewatch. Alcyone80 tweeted, I've had a love-hate relationship with The Wheel of Time over the years, but this series has helped me rediscover why I loved it in the first place. Surprising, delighting, and heartbreaking. Here's to many more seasons. I couldn't agree more. Surprising, delighting, and heartbreaking it is. Cheers to rediscovering The Wheel of Time. That's it, my friends. Season 1 of The Wheel of Time has come to an end. Where will Rand go? And what will become of his friends? Has Moiraine's quest come to an end? And please tell me, Loyal survives. The wheel weaves as the wheel wills. To my special guest this evening, you have my deep appreciation for bringing the Wheel of Time to life on screen. And this has been one of the greatest honors of my life, so thank you to the Wheel of Time team for this opportunity, and to the fans for supporting the Dusty Wheel through this epic journey. I'm your host and innkeeper, Matt Hatch. Thank you for joining us inside the Wheel of Time. And we'll see you soon. But until then, smash to black.
Whoa, oh my god! I see the whole...
See you later.
We have to try everything.
Hello.
This and later.
I don't care about the show. I just want a good blooper reel.
I want to learn science.
You guys are going to make me look like I'm in the show, right? You're going to put in the effects. Replace the green. I don't want to look like an asshole here.
Sorry.